Good morning YouTube and welcome back to the channel. And finally we have a 300cc two-stroke that we're going to put in the Grom. So firstly, a big thanks to my friend Nate for going to pick it up and finding it on Facebook Marketplace. So it's an EXC300, model year 2002, little bit grubby, but overall it's going to be perfect for what we need. So as mentioned in the intro, I do have to say a big thanks to Nath again because he has been on it. Ever since I told him about the project, I said I can get the Grom sorted, I'm good with my road bikes, but off-road stuff, if anyone's tried to buy one normally here in the UK, they just seem to be attracted by different kinds of buyers and sellers, and they're often difficult. But Grant, the guy we bought this from, was actually really sound, really nice guy. Had a load of work spent on the engine. I think it was about £1,300 2 years ago, having it fully rebuilt. So although it looks a bit grubby, which we're going to take outside to clean, it should be the perfect base for us to work with. So it wasn't too far from us. Nathan went and picked it up. It was about an hour from him. Well, actually, no, it's probably not even that. 40 minutes from him, and then about an hour back to me. So he picked it up, dropped it over last night, literally threw it in the garage. We fired it up, and he said when he bought it at the time that there was a slight exhaust blow, which is what we're going to try and bend back today, because it looks like the front pipe or the midsection has had an impact with something which has just bent it slightly, which is causing it to have a slight leak. But if we can't bend it back, we said we're going to build a custom exhaust anyway, so it's not end of the world. But yeah, super excited. Let's get it outside and then obviously give it a good wash, get this off the ramp, and then get the EXC stripped down and see if that engine will fit in there. It's the first time I've ever put a dirt bike on a stand like this. I've seen them over the years, but in the sports bike world, you're always done off the swing arm, the bobbins. So quite cool that I can stand it up, get it ready to clean. The first job, as we mentioned, is going to be trying to straighten the exhaust out. So I can see there's some dents in the back of it, but what I'm hoping is I can put a bit of plate here and get my lever bar and just twist it to try and pull that round and see if we can center the exhaust. So you can see the dent, which we believe hit here, and then twisted this to pull it off the exhaust port on the cylinder head. Hopefully that will focus, but we'll have a quick play with that now, see if we can fix that. If not, it's just going to be a new exhaust. So it's moved ever so slightly. You can see the fresh metal on the gap on that side, just in there. It's just open round a little bit, but it's definitely not perfect. So it's either going to need, like I say, a new mid pipe, or as we mentioned in the other video, a full custom system. But let's get on with the washing. back in the garage, it's looking a lot better for the clean. I mean, things like the wheels, obviously corrosion, I'm not going to be able to get rid of. We've got scuffs on the cases and that from where your foot's on the brake, but all part of the dirt bike life. And I said, didn't want to spend thousands and thousands just for the engine. And the thing was, for those wondering why I didn't just buy an engine on its own, by the time you've bought the engine, the CDI, the electrics, you've used all your money that you could buy a whole bike for. And the beauty of this is, as Nathan was pointing out, because I'm not a dirt cross rider, is things like the seat, the enduro or extra fuel tank size, the wheels, forks, everything will be sold. Rear shocks, and we can claw back a lot of money that way. So it really shouldn't owe me a lot at the end. So we're going to start stripping it down now, and this is the first time I've ever worked on a dirt bike, off-road bike. I mean, obviously it's going to be pretty similar to motorbikes in general, but it is going to be a case of just undoing everything and completely strip it down, and then get the heart out and say if it's going to fit in the Grom today or whether I'm just going to be selling everything as parts. So fingers crossed it all goes to plan. So our first proper look at the engine and the cooling system. I mean, she's quite a big lump actually for a 300. It is bigger than I expected, which is not great news. Obviously the cooling system was something I had factored in. I mean, you can see there we've got the twin rads. It looks like it comes straight off the cylinder head. There's like a split V piece that goes to feed both radiators. They come back down. There's a join on the other side that links it, and then it's down here into the water pump, obviously through the engine and back through the radiator. So straightforward enough cooling system. We could run a smaller radiator. I have seen a Honda CBR, I think it's 250 and 300 for the American market, that looks like it would fit in the Grom section, but we're going to get a temp gauge anyway, something that we're going to need to fit on the Grom. My good friend Nathan, again, the man, the legend that sourced this bike, told me about a company called Vapor. And they make these clocks that you can run for these, which have like the rev counter. You can add a water temperature, you can add a speedo sensor. Obviously, as the Grom's got ABS, you've already got a point on the fork that we can put the speedo sensor in. And then we have, in theory, a full set of running clocks. And the beauty of the KTM EXC, and a lot of the 300s, as you can probably see there, is we have lights and they do work. So that means we should be able to run very minimal power on the Grom setup. That was one of the ideas of going for this. So indicators and lights. I mean, it's a tiny regulator. You can see there, spinning the camera around, how much voltage that will handle will be the question. But yeah, let's carry on stripping down and get this out on the bench and have a proper look at what we're playing with. Using an old latex glove, or well, a chopped up one, I've covered up the carburetor just to stop anything falling down there now, because we've got a lot of crud and stuff. We're going to be undoing nuts and bolts, and we don't want that getting inside the engine. And when it's removed, it's going to have a proper clean anyway, so that should stop any water. Now we've got to drain the cooling system. I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say that bad boy is going to release the coolant, because this is obviously part of the casing. There's probably a few of you in the comments that tell me, no, it's a bleed point, or no, it's a major bolt that holds everything together. But I'm going to undo that, put a tub under here, and fingers crossed that all just drains out nicely and lets us flush the system pretty mess free. The engine's pretty much ready to come out the frame now, which is good news. Productive little morning. I'm just going to nip down to the local co-op, grab a little meal deal, keep me trucking for a few more hours. Things that I have done quickly is I've just started labeling bits of the loom, because we're going to need to tap this into obviously the Hoonigrom rear light and eventually the headlights. So I'll label all that up so when it's off the frame I know exactly where it goes. Something that is pretty cool is we have a top engine mount there. That will come in handy. I mean, it's not particularly large, so I don't think it'd be enough to unfortunately brace the top. We will still need to fabricate something onto the Grom frame. But yeah, really happy with how it's come apart. Because the engine was rebuilt a couple of years ago, it's already been out, the swing arm all came apart pretty nicely, and obviously the garage now is just absolute dumping ground. Needs a good sort out. But let's get the engine out, get it on the bench, and then we can go outside and give this a proper clean up, because as you can see where I couldn't get to bits earlier, still really grubby. The engine has been loosely placed in, and when I say loosely, just on the stand. The problem I'm running into to finish this is this bracket for the standard sort of coil pack HT lead is in the way. So I'm gonna have to cut this off, drop that down, and that's gonna give us room to move the whole engine probably back 10 inches looking at that, and then it should line up. But do you know what? Initial impressions, looks pretty good. I mean, I think we might have to tilt the engine that way a little bit to bring the sprocket up. But yeah, that'll be in the next video. So if you are enjoying it, make sure you hit that like button, consider subscribing, it does help. And obviously if you've got any input or ideas, let me know in the comments. Until next time, thanks for watching.